So we welcome in Stony Brook head coach Geno Ford and sophomore guard Collin O'Connor. Coach Ford enters his seventh season on Long Island with a new look squad that features 10 newcomers. CAA all rookie team selection Collin O'Connor returns to Stony Brook after an impressive freshman campaign with 8.1 points and 3.2 assists per game. Coach, as I mentioned, a lot of new faces to build around a real rising star in Collin. What can we expect with this group this year?
Well, we're awfully excited to get going. We got a lot of new faces. It's a new year. I think when you take the temperature of college basketball, you realize that each season is really precious because the faces in the locker room change so dramatically. I mean, we have 15 guys, 11 of them weren't with us last year. We were really excited to have Collin back. A huge part of what we're doing. He's coming off of an injury and close to returning. Should be full go here soon. And he had a great freshman year, and we expect him to be a much better player this year than he was a year ago. I think the end of last year he showed some consistency that we needed to see, and he had shown some nice flashes early. But I think at the end of the year he was playing some really good basketball, and our guys are anxious to get going. We've added several transfers like everybody, so we're still learning what we have and who's who.
Coach, before we really dive deep into this year, you also, among the newcomers, also brought in a new associate head coach in Hanny Hipsher. What does he bring to the table? What did you like about him, and how does he fit what you're looking for on your coaching staff as well?
Well, I've known Andy since he was about 18 years old. His dad, Dan's one of the all-time great coaches who's ever coached college basketball. And, so I've been very aware of Andy and followed his career. And he spent the last 8 years in Europe as a pro head coach for four and as an assistant coach at some European clubs for 3 or 3.5 of those years. And had an interim in there also. So, Andy is really, really a good basketball coach. He's got a presence. He's really good offensively. He's been around the game a long time and been with some very successful programs and did a lot in college basketball as well. Coached some really good teams in the Big East when he was at South Florida, NCAA tournament teams, and he's seen it all and he's grew up around the game. So he's been a big shot in the arm for us for sure.
Colin, I'll switch over to you to go back to Coach's point earlier that towards the end of the year, you really got a chance to shine and showcase what you're able to do. You did kind of set a mark where you had six straight games where you played every minute. And in league play, it hadn't been done in almost a decade. What does it mean to you to have that level of trust with Coach and, especially in that later part of the year and as you enter your sophomore year?
Yeah, it means a lot to me. I know we had a couple injuries mid-year, so it was like we didn't have a lot of guards out there. So I was really like one of the few guards out there. So I think it was definitely tough. I mean, Coach Ford trusted me a lot. I mean, as a true freshman to go out there and do that and set a record like that, it means a lot. So I think that experience helped me a lot, and I think going forward into this next year, it's going to help us out.
All right, we'll go to Griffin and then we'll go to Jerry.
Colin, this one's for you as well. Just now having that year under your belt, what are some of the areas that you look to improve your game as a sophomore?
Yeah, I think definitely turnover, assisted turnover ratio. I think it got better towards the end of the year. I think that first half of the year was more of a learning curve for me. So I think that second half of the year I got better, but I can definitely improve. I think 3-point shooting, same thing too. I think at the beginning of the year I was kind of up and down, and then towards the last like 13, I think games of the year I was almost shooting 40%. So I think those things, but I think most important is vocalness and leadership. I think that coming back as a returner, I think it's a key thing because you got college basketball is now it's a new team almost every year. So I think it's getting guys on the same page and holding guys accountable.
Jerry?
Hey, Gino, good to see you. Kind of piggyback on that. When you guys made the title game a couple years ago, that was with a really experienced veteran-laden team with a bunch of guys you'd had for a long time. Is there anything you can take from building that team that applies when you're building a new team on the fly like you're doing this year?
Yeah, hi, Jerry. It does. I think the big thing is it's changed our approach. And we had gone to this a few years ago with really trying to ramp up as the year goes. I think that you get down to DC everyone always says it, and they're right. You got to be hot, but everybody's excited to play in the tournament. So you really need to be peaking and playing well. I mean, pop in the arena down there for the 13, 14 game or whatever it is, when two teams are the only two playing that day. Both teams are laying it on the line and diving for loose balls and taking charges because they know that everything's at risk. And if our league has shown anything since the expansion, and I know this always existed, there was always parity. There are some great teams in our league. Uh, but you don't need to be the one seed to win the tournament. Now, would I like to win the regular season? Absolutely. I'd love to get down there the one seed. But the bottom line is you have to play well that week. And that becomes a thing of, is your team coming together? Are we getting better throughout the year? Have we shored up some weaknesses? Because every team is going to have some things they do particularly well and some things that maybe aren't as good at. And I think that team you're referring to, we not only had some older guys, but I'm just telling you the toughness of those guys was elite. Tyler Stevenson, Moore, Aaron Clark, I mean Dean Knoll. We had three guys have surgery the week after the tournament who played with stuff that needed surgically repaired and refused to even consider sitting out or missing practice. It's just the mentality of those guys. So in an era where toughness is not what it was 20 years ago, and that's just a fact. There isn't any coach that's been in it that would tell you it is. I think really building that toughness and building your team with guys that are about each other and not about themselves, is really key. And we're trying to do a good job with that. It's hard, it's challenging every year, but I really like the guys in our locker room, and they're working hard.
We'll go to
Thank you.
Griffin and then we'll go to Delonte.
Hey, Coach. Great to talk to you here today. Just kind of focusing on some of those newcomers. Something that really stuck out to me was some of the freshmen that you brought into the fold. Just what excites you about that group that will be entering here as freshmen?
Yeah, it's been a good group for us, to be honest. Andre, and it's great because Andre's from Macedonia. I had to look on the map to find it. I'm not kidding. I've told him that. He kind of laughed at me. But and then Thomas from Slovakia, we knew because we'd had a player from there. Neither one of those guys play like freshmen. I mean, they just don't carry themselves like freshmen. They're used to playing against grown men. They played in really good leagues a year ago against good competition. So if you were to walk in our practice, you would not look out there and say, well, I bet that guy's a freshman, or I'll bet this guy's a freshman. And then Jonah Butler from Kentucky had a monstrous senior year down there and has really played well for us. And he's got a good body. He's a big 6'6" wing who can play inside and out and can really shoot it. So I could see several of those guys, if not all of them, carving a nice niche for themselves in the rotation. But again, we need to get under some duress. Right now the practice, we're going against each other. We know the play you're about to run. You know the play I just ran. So we'll see how it shakes out. But I definitely like that group quite a bit.
Delonte.
Good morning, Coach. Yeah, I wanted to talk about the pace of play. I noticed early on when you came in, you were a little bit higher tempo, and then it kind of slowed down this past year. So I was wondering, could you speak to this team and what kind of tempo that you want to play, and does tempo kind of dictate? I mean, does a team kind of dictate, how you play, whether that's slower, and a little bit more in the half court, or if you want to kind of get up and down? So I'm interested to see what style of play you'll be implementing this year.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I will play way faster than we played last year. That was out of necessity, to be honest. 2 years ago, our tempo was fast, and last year it was trying our best to keep it as close as we could for as long as we could, and hope we made a couple shots down the stretch. We didn't have much depth a year ago, and then we had some injuries, and it peeled away what little we had in terms of bodies over there. So we would like to play fast. We definitely, I think every team in the country, when you've got good offensive firepower, you want more possessions. I think this team has a chance to be the best perimeter defensive team we've had. I think we can put a lineup out there with three guys on a perimeter that are all going to be really difficult to get good looks against. And that's exciting. And we've got size on the front court. Quinn Gorman and Thomas got the good size, positional size as that fourth guard out there, and then Oleg and Rich inside have legit space eating with and athleticism in there, and they can play multiple positions, or at least Rich does. Please don't tell Oleg that I slipped and said he could play multiple positions. He will not. He will play the five. But anyway, he'd be excited to hear me say that. But I like our group. I do. I like our group a lot. I think we got a chance. I know everyone's excited this time of year, but I think you'll see a much different product on the floor when we get to November.
We'll close it up, Griffin.
Yeah, coach, kind of building off my last question, how important was it to get an experienced guard like Eric Pratt into the fold with some of those newcomers as well? Because he has a lot of experience under his belt.
Yeah, it was super important. I mean, a year ago, Collin got kind of trial by fire, got a lot of experience. I thought Collin was really good for us and became really a good player at the end of the year. Eric is old. Eric has played on 20-win teams. Eric played at Texas A&M and was in the rotation at Texas A&M at one point in his career. Those are not easy things to accomplish. And Eric is an electric athlete and should be able to be freed up to make plays, with Collin able to handle a lot of the ball handling duties. And so I think those guys can play off each other really well. We haven't had a chance to do that yet because Collin had been hurt. So, but he's close, and he's getting back here within the next few weeks, and so then we'll kind of get a better feel for what we have. But I know what Collin's capable of, and I know what Eric's shown us he can do, and what he's done in his career. I mean, the guy did average 13, 14 a game on a 20-win team 2 years ago. Averaged double figures on a 20-win team for a new coach again last year. So Eric's definitely got a lot of game, and we're certainly excited about him.
Well, guys, we appreciate you coming in and chatting with us today. The Sea-Wolves will begin their 25-26 campaign on November 3rd, hosting Farmingdale State. Guys, once again, thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you this year.
Thanks.
Thank you.